I cut my hair short at 61 and cried in the parking lot because it looked nothing like the picture I brought in. Turns out the picture wasn't the problem. I was making mistakes I didn't even know were mistakes, and so are a lot of women who think a pixie just doesn't work on them. It works. You're just missing a few things nobody tells you before you sit in that chair. In this video, I'm walking you through the 7 pixie cut mistakes that quietly age women over 60, and exactly what to do instead. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 50, so you get real results fast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1. Cutting it too short, too fast. Here's what nobody tells you before your first pixie. The shorter you go on the first cut, the more it exaggerates every soft spot on your face that longer hair used to quietly cover. That's not an opinion, it's just how short hair works. There's no length left to soften the transition from hairline to jaw to neck. So when a woman goes from shoulder-length hair straight into a tight, cropped pixie in one sitting, she's not just changing her hair. She's changing how her whole face reads to a stranger walking past her on the street. And here's the part that stings a little. A lot of women don't realize this is what happened. They just look in the mirror afterward and think quietly, "I don't look like myself." They blame the cut. They blame their face. Some of them grow it back out within 8 weeks and never try short hair again, convinced it's not for them. It's not that pixies don't work on them. It's that nobody warned them the first cut shouldn't be the shortest cut. The fix is simple, but it goes against what most of us want to do, which is get it over with in one appointment. Go transitional first. Ask your stylist for a longer pixie, sometimes called a grown-out pixie, or a long pixie crop, where there's still movement at the crown. The sides are tapered but not shaved close, and the length around the face is left a little longer than you think you want. This isn't a compromise. It's strategy. You're giving your face and your eye time to adjust to short hair before you commit to the version that leaves nothing to hide behind. Here's why this actually works mechanically. When there's still some length at the crown, you get lift and movement that draws the eye upward and outward, away from the lower half of the face. That upward motion is doing a job. It's redirecting attention the same way a longer style used to, just with less hair. A too short pixie cut close to the head does the opposite. It flattens everything and pulls all the visual weight down toward the jaw and chin, which is exactly the part most of us are least excited to spotlight after 60. Once you've lived in the transitional length for 6 to 8 weeks, you'll actually know something you couldn't have known on day 1. How your particular face moves with short hair, where your cowlicks fight you, whether your neck likes being exposed or wants a little coverage at the nape. That information is worth more than any photo you bring in from a magazine, because it's about your face, not a stranger's. Only after that do you go shorter, and when you do, you go shorter with actual data instead of a guess. The result women describe after doing it this way isn't just, "I like my hair now." It's more specific than that. They say strangers stop them to ask who did their hair. They say their jawline looks sharper, not softer, because the right length at the crown is doing the work of contouring that concealer used to have to do. That's the real snapback moment. The cut starts working for your face instead of against it, and people notice before you even say a word. So the swap is this. Instead of walking in and asking for a pixie, you walk in and ask for a long, transitional pixie with movement at the crown and length left around the face, and you plan to go shorter later, once you know your own face. That one sentence to your stylist changes the entire trajectory of how this haircut treats you. But even with the right length, there's a second mistake sitting right behind this one, and it's the one that makes women think their hair just won't do what the picture showed. It has nothing to do with length at all. Part 2. Ignoring your natural texture. Nearly every pixie cut you've ever admired in a photo was cut for straight hair, or hair that behaves like straight hair does. Smooth, predictable, lying flat where it's told to lie flat. And here's the surprising part. Most women over 60 don't actually have that hair anymore, even if they did in their 30s. Hormonal changes shift hair texture as we age. Strands that used to be smooth often develop a slight wave, a coarser feel, or less natural shine, whether or not you've ever colored it. So when you walk in with a photo of a sleek, glassy pixie and your stylist cuts for that texture without asking what your hair actually does when it air dries, you end up fighting your own head every single morning. This is the mistake that makes women say, "My hair just won't cooperate," when really the cut was never built for the hair growing out of their scalp. It's not a discipline problem. It's not a product problem, at least not at first. It's a communication problem between what was pictured and what was actually there. The fix starts before you ever sit in the chair. Bring your stylist a photo, absolutely, but also say this sentence out loud. "This is what my hair actually does when I don't style it." Let it air dry the day before your appointment if you can, and either show up with it in that natural state or take a picture on your phone. A good stylist isn't cutting to recreate a photo. They're cutting an angle and a weight distribution that works with the way your particular hair wants to move, using that photo only as a reference point for length and shape. For textured or wavy hair specifically, this usually means the cut needs more weight left in certain sections rather than the razor-thin, feathered ends you see in sleek Pixie photos. Weight controls how hair falls. Too little weight on textured hair, and it puffs out instead of lying down, which is exactly the poofy look so many women complain about after a pixie cut that photographed beautifully on someone else's straight hair. Your stylist needs to know before the scissors come out whether they're cutting for glass smooth hair or hair with real texture and body, because those are two different technical approaches, not the same cut on different people. The other piece of this fix is drying technique, and it matters more on a pixie than on any longer style, because there's no length left to disguise a bad dry. If your natural texture has any wave or coarseness, ask your stylist to show you, right there in the chair, how they're drying it. Diffusing versus round brushing, direction of airflow, how much product goes in before drying starts. Watch what they do with their hands. This is the 5 minutes that determines whether you can recreate this look tomorrow morning alone in your bathroom, or whether it only ever looks like this once, in the salon, under professional hands. When this gets fixed, the change isn't subtle. Women who've spent years fighting a pixie that never sits right describe finally having a cut that looks intentional on day 3 the same way it looked on day 1 at the salon, because it was built for their actual texture instead of a photo of someone else's hair. That's the real win here. Not a different haircut. The same haircut, finally cut for the hair that's actually growing on your head. The before and after here isn't about length at all. It's a pixie cut for a photo of straight hair, versus a pixie cut for the texture actually growing out of your scalp, with the weight and drying method adjusted to match it. Now here's a question worth sitting with for a second. If your hair texture is right and your length is right, why do so many pixie cuts still end up looking dated within a year? The answer has almost nothing to do with the cut itself, and everything to do with what happens between appointments. Part 3. Waiting too long between trims. Here's something that surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it. A pixie cut has a shorter shelf life than almost any other haircut, and it's not close. Long hair can go 3, 4, even 6 months between trims and still look like a style. A pixie starts visibly losing its shape in as little as 3 weeks, because there's so little length to begin with that even a small amount of new growth throws off the entire proportion of the cut. This is where a lot of women unintentionally sabotage a haircut they actually love. They get the perfect pixie, they're thrilled with it, and then life happens. 6 weeks pass, then 8, then 10, and by the 3-month mark they're not wearing the cut they fell in love with anymore. They're wearing a shapeless, overgrown version of it, and they start to wonder if the cut itself was ever really them, when the truth is the cut left weeks ago and nobody told them. The fix is a maintenance schedule, and I mean an actual schedule, not a vague intention to get in there sometime. Book your next appointment on your way out of the salon, every single time, at 4 to 5 weeks out. Not when you notice it's grown out. That's already 2 weeks too late for a pixie, because by the time you notice, the proportions have already shifted more than you think. Put it on the calendar the same day you get the cut, before life gets a chance to push it down the priority list. If a 4 to 5 week visit isn't realistic for your schedule or your budget, there's a middle option a lot of stylists don't mention unless you ask. A quick neck and sideburn cleanup between full cuts. This is a 10-minute appointment, often far cheaper than a full cut, that resets the hairline at the nape and around the ears, the 2 spots that grow out fastest and make a pixie look overgrown before anywhere else does. Ask your salon if they offer this as a standalone service. Many do, and most clients never ask. There's also a texture reason this matters more after 60 specifically. Gray and white hair tends to be coarser and grow slightly differently than pigmented hair, which means regrowth on a pixie can show more visibly and more quickly at the root and along the hairline than it would in hair with more pigment and softer texture. That's not a flaw in your hair. It's just a reason the maintenance window is genuinely tighter for you than it might be for a younger client with the exact same haircut. Here's what changes when you actually stick to the schedule. The cut stops being something you got once and now just live with in various states of overgrowth. It becomes a maintained style. The version people compliment. The version that looks deliberate every single time they see you. Not just for the first 3 weeks after a salon visit. That's the difference between a haircut and a look. A haircut fades. A maintained look doesn't, and the only thing separating the two is whether you kept the appointment. The swap here is an overgrown, shapeless pixie at 10 weeks versus a crisp, defined pixie maintained on a strict 4 to 5 week schedule, with quick cleanups in between if needed. And once your maintenance is locked in, there's still one more decision sitting quietly underneath all of this that most women never think to question. The color sitting on top of the cut, and whether it's actually helping or working against everything you just fixed. Part 4. Fighting your gray instead of cutting for it. Here's the fact that surprises almost everyone. Gray and white hair doesn't just look different. It behaves completely differently under scissors than pigmented hair does. It's typically coarser in texture. It can grow in multiple directions from the same section instead of one uniform direction. And it reflects light differently, which means the exact same haircut can read as sharp and intentional on gray hair, or scattered and uneven, depending entirely on whether it was cut with those differences in mind. This is where a lot of women run into trouble without realizing why. They ask for the same pixie they wore at 40, cut the same way, by a stylist who isn't accounting for the fact that gray hair simply doesn't sit the way it used to. The cut comes out technically correct and still looks somehow off. A little wild at the crown, a little uneven at the temples. And the woman assumes it's her hair being difficult, when really it's a cutting technique built for hair that behaves completely differently than the hair she has now. The fix is finding a stylist who specifically has experience cutting gray and white hair, and asking about it directly before you book. Not assuming every stylist who's great with color-treated hair automatically knows how to cut for gray's different growth pattern and texture. A stylist experienced with gray hair will often use point cutting or texturizing techniques rather than blunt, uniform cuts, because those techniques work with the coarser texture instead of fighting it, softening the multi-directional growth instead of trying to force it into a single flat plane. There's a second layer to this fix that has nothing to do with cutting technique, and everything to do with how you think about the gray itself. A lot of women who go gray later in life still style their hair the way they did when it was pigmented. Same part, same volume expectations, same products. But gray hair often has less natural shine, and can look flatter under the same styling approach that worked on colored hair. The fix isn't more product piled on top hoping for shine. It's usually the opposite. Lighter weight styling products designed for gray or silver hair specifically, which are formulated differently to enhance the natural luminosity gray hair does have rather than weigh it down, or leave it looking dull. Ask your stylist about a gloss or toning gloss too, even if you're not coloring your hair at all. This isn't about changing your gray, it's about what a clear or silver tone gloss does to how light bounces off it. Many women find it reduces yellowing and adds a visible shine that gray hair doesn't always have on its own. It's a 15-minute add-on at most salons. And it's one of the most requested secret services among women who fully embrace gray, but still want it to photograph and catch light beautifully. What changes when this gets fixed isn't subtle. Women who switch to a stylist experience with gray hair and adjust their styling products to match often say their gray finally looks chosen instead of just present. The difference between gray hair that reads as elegant and deliberate and gray hair that just happened. That's the real transformation in this mistake. It was never about covering the gray or fighting it. It was about cutting and styling for the hair you actually have now, not the hair you used to have. The swap is gray hair cut and styled with techniques meant for pigmented hair, flat and slightly wild, versus gray hair cut with point cutting technique and finished with lightweight, gray-specific products and an optional gloss for shine. There's one more mistake left, and it's the one that undoes every single fix we've covered so far in about 60 seconds flat. Every morning, without you even realizing it's happening. Part 5. the product and drying habit that undoes everything. I'm going to tell you something that might sting a little. The single most common reason a great pixie cut stops looking great has nothing to do with the cut, the color, or the salon visit at all. It's what happens in the bathroom the next morning, and every morning after that, with products that were never right for short hair in the first place. Most women style short hair the exact same way they styled long hair for decades. The same heavy cream, the same amount of product, the same air dry and hope approach. But short hair has almost no weight to it, which means it shows every ounce of product you put in far more honestly than long hair ever did. A dollop of heavy cream that would disappear into shoulder-length hair sits right on top of a pixie, flattening the crown, weighing down the exact volume and lift that's doing all the work of making the cut look intentional. This is the quiet reason so many women say their pixie looked amazing at the salon and never again. The stylist used the right amount of the right product, and then home styling undid it within days. The fix has two parts, and both are smaller adjustments than you'd expect. First, the amount. For a full head of pixie-length hair, you generally need an amount closer to a dime than a quarter. Genuinely less than half of what most women reach for out of habit. Start with less than you think you need, work it through, and add more only if you actually need it, rather than starting heavy and trying to compensate later. Second, the type of product matters as much as the amount. Heavy creams and thick pomades were built for taming long hair, and adding weight where long hair has too much movement. Short hair needs the opposite. Lightweight texturizing paste or a volumizing mousse applied at the root. Products built to add lift and definition without adding weight. Drying technique is the other half of this fix, and it's just as easy to get wrong out of pure habit. If you're air drying a pixie the way you might have air dried longer layers, letting it fall naturally, you're working against the cut instead of with it. A pixie is built to be dried with intention, using your fingers or a small round brush to lift at the roots while the hair is still damp, directing it up and away from the scalp rather than letting gravity flatten it while it dries. This takes about 90 extra seconds compared to just letting it air dry, and it's the difference between a pixie that looks styled and one that looks like it simply happened to you. When women make both of these adjustments, less product, the right type of product, and root lift drying instead of passive air drying, the change shows up almost immediately, often the very next morning. The cut that looked incredible at the salon on day one now looks that way every single day, not just right after an appointment. That consistency is what actually reads as polished to everyone around you. It's not one great hair day a month. It's every day looking like you meant it. The swap is a flattened, product-heavy pixie with no root lift by mid-morning, versus a lightweight product pixie with intentional root lift drying that still looks fresh at the end of the day. Put these 5 fixes together. The right first cut, cutting for your actual texture, staying on a real maintenance schedule, cutting and styling for gray specifically, and using the right product in the right amount. And you have the entire difference between a pixie that doesn't work for me and a pixie that makes people ask who's doing your hair. So now you know the 7 things that quietly wreck a pixie cut after 60. Going too short too fast, ignoring your real texture, skipping your maintenance window, cutting gray the same way you'd cut color, and using the wrong product in the wrong amount. And every single one of them is fixable in your very next appointment. That's the part one want you to sit with. This was never about whether short hair works for you. It clearly does. You just needed the details nobody hands you before you sit in that chair. Tell me in the comments, which of these 7 mistakes hit closest to home for you? I read every comment, and I want to know which one you're taking into your next salon visit. Next week I'm covering the exact questions to ask your stylist before any haircut over 60, so you walk in prepared instead of just hoping for the best. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.